Hey guys, Tim here from Algonaut. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make some tech house drums and go over the kinds of patterns and sounds I tend to choose for getting a groove going. At the end, I'm going to swap the samples around and mess with the pattern a bit to record about 10 audio loops. So you'll be able to download these loops and the samples and the MIDI as well from this tutorial and use them in your own stuff because they'll be royalty free. So tech house drums are basically just a classic house drums. Really, tech house to me is more defined by the bass and sound selection than the rest of the song. But at least when making techie drums, we do want to go for a pretty punchy kick, almost an EDM kick, and more classic drum machine samples to get the right kind of vibe. All right, let's get into it. So first things first, the tempo, 124. It's already 124 because I actually tend to write tech house kind of stuff, so I'm in my element. And let's choose a map. So we're going to go maps, Algonaut house drums. Boom. So these are some samples we've got here that we've put together. Let's go new kit. All right, to kick, not quite the one we want though. Let's deal with that. So kick drums, we want a punchy kick. Nah, they're too boxy and nah, not quite. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, we'll commit to that. Loop. Got my launch pad working. I do. All right. Kick. I duplicate that twice. So we got a 4-bar pattern for variations as we go. And what I might do is I'm going to actually split out the MIDI and audio from Atlas into separate channels in Ableton so that we can kind of manage it all independently. So we'll call this kick. The MIDI is going to go to Atlas on the first channel, MIDI channel, and that should just work. Excellent. Then we need an audio channel. Audio from Atlas, channel 2, monitor in, back over in Atlas, channel 2. Alright, and there it is, you can see it. You can see a look at that. Yeah, that's our kick. I'm just going to check a gain on that just to get it up to the 0 line because that's how I tend to do my mixing. Put the kick at 0 and everything underneath that. Cool. Let's go for the clap. So we're going to layer 2 claps. We'll go a kind of more conventional one and then something weird. Here we go. Oh. Some good claps here actually. Oh. Let's go with that first one I found. Now I want something kind of weird. That's a bit weirder. I'm going to replace this crash with that clap and we'll do the layering in MIDI via MIDI. So duplicate that MIDI channel. We'll rename it clap. Cool. Just get rid of these. Don't need to hear that. Thank you very much. Okay, that's the clap. So I think clap is the turn it back on again. Yeah, and I think we put the other clap. And C2. So I'll just take all that, Alt drag, C2. Sweet. Audio from Atlas. Channel 3 this time, monitor in. Okay. Going out channel 3. Go out channel 3. Sweet. What have we got? Okay, let's do a bit of leveling. It's quite cool. Just double check quickly if there's anything in a bit more character than that. I prefer that. It's just a little bit weirder. Definitely when you're making your drums, choose samples that are unique. Don't go and don't go and just choose the basic 808, 909 samples and then wonder why your music sounds boring. Could be a bit louder on that channel as well. Also, might use this track delay and just shift it back like 5 milliseconds. Just so it's just landing just before the kick, which gives it a bit, you can hear the transients a bit better and it gives it a bit of groove. Right, next order. Shaker. So I'm just gonna go like this. Send this MIDI to Atlas. Shake it. That's really more of a tambourine. What have we got in the shaker pool? It's pretty good. That's actually even better. Sweet. It's just gonna go on the offbeat. So offbeat shaker, sort of instead of a hat, gives it a bit of a nicer, what's the word I'm looking for? Tone, vibe, sound, that kind of stuff. Oh yeah, probably should actually have a channel for it as well. So shaker, audio from channel 4. And play. It's pretty good. I feel like this kind of sounds a bit late. I'm just gonna pull this start position in. That's fine. Okay, let's go now for the need something on the offbeat. I'll get a snare in there at the end because at the moment it's obviously too straight. So let's find a good snare. That's too thin. I want something quite punchy. One of these will probably do the job. So do that. Here's my snare. Oops. Use Atlas. Okay. Here's my snare. Just took in the last 16th. Duplicate that. I don't want it every bar. Just the first and the third bar. Better give it its own channel. Channel 5. Okay. Not too bad. It's a little bit boring sounding, to be honest. I reckon we'll layer it with something. That's a bit better. Yeah. Okay, sweet. So now we need a decent offbeat hi-hat, like a classic. This is a kind of almost more classic 909 one, but we'll see what we can find. I should be labeling these. So what's that? Clap, shaker, whoa, snare, open, hat. Okay, MIDI 2. Okay, back over here. I'm gonna find a decent hat. It's not terrible. Might just stick this somewhere. Oh, that's not bad. Keeps the character too. Ah, they're all here. Okay, let's just keep these hats at the top. I'll try this one. Okay. Here it is. Just a bit of an accent note there, just for a little bit of thing at the end. We'll have to do something at the end to make it a bit interesting as well. Not over the top, of course, but yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's a terrible hat in the end. It's pretty good, except that it's a little bit too long, so we might play with that a little bit. So We're from channel 6. Might be conflicting with that shaker bit as well, just in terms of timing. Okay, let's tighten this up. So that shape knob is just like an ADSR, so just pulling the release in to kind of make it shorter. It sounds very, very warm. Well, not warm, but like it's quite mid-heavy, so I'm going to duck out like that on the 500. The whole thing sounds a bit dry, so I'm going to chuck on just the tiniest bit of verb on the hat, I think. Short reverb. Should probably chuck some groove on all this as well, so I'm just going to chuck on some swing. What I might do, select all, and then drag that swing into the groove. So now they all have groove with a global amount of about 20%, 15%. Yeah, you can hear it. It's subtle, but it's there. Okay, so I mean, let's group all this up. I'll quickly label this. Clap. Did I shift the clap in the end? I didn't. No, I did. Yes, right, I did. Shaker. Snare. Open hat. Cool. Let's group it up. Group it up. Alright. We need to put some processing on this. So I'm going to use, we have a UAD satellite, universal audio satellite with those hard out plugins, and I don't know, I have a rack that we use. Where is it? Algo drums, UAD polish. Yeah. Check that on the group. Boom. No, that's not the right one. Actually, it's called drum loop polish. Right. So just quickly go through it. We've got the 610, what do you call it, preamp. That gives it a bit of warmth. And then then it goes into the compressor, so that tightens it up with a pretty a reasonably slow attack and a pretty fast release, and just on a 4 ratio. I'm actually probably pumping it a bit much. Let's dial it back. Here's my release. Sorry, what are you talking about? Words. Check one on each side and then compensate. So -3 going in, +3 going out. Get a little control. So yeah, we got warmth from the preamp, compression from the compressor, and then we got a little bit of EQing, just a tiny bit of small EQ on the edges, on the lows and highs, just to give it a bit of polish. Then it goes into the SSL mix channel. There's pretty much nothing going on there, but there's just the tiniest bit of noise and tone that you get out of that channel strip, and then a limiter. The hat is still pretty big, eh? Let's just quickly address that shaker. So it sounds okay. It's good enough for now. All right, so I think really to kind of make sure that this drum loop is working, we need a bass line to kind of play with it. So I'm going to quickly make one, just a warm tech housey bass line. So just go to my go-to, massive. Yep. Any minute now. Jeez, taking your time. You worry me. Okay, new sound. Yeah, it's a great bass. Okay, up to down on the first oscillator. Cool. Just rearrange these filters and turn on low pass 4. Change this oscillator to phase width modulated oscillator. So you want it as a pulse, and we want the width to be, so straight up is just a pure, whoa, too much resonance, just a pure square. We want it a little bit into the, what do you call it? Yeah, I'm going to shift the phase a little bit so it sounds a bit warmer. And we're probably going to dial in another oscillator. Maybe this time I'll just, same thing, but I'll keep it as a saw perhaps, and just dial the amp back just so we get a bit of warmth out of that. Okay, voicing, monophonic, restart via gate on, glide off. Why was that even up? I don't know. Okay, this is kind of important. On the key tracking for the filtering, by default, Massive has it pretty extreme, like as if you have essentially key tracking is when, if you turn it up, as you play up the keyboard, the filter actually follows and opens up a little bit, but you don't want it to do it too much, otherwise as you start going up the higher keys, it actually sounds quite different. So I usually kind of keep it at just half, so this kind of means that it will kind of go up and match the keys as they go up, so it sounds more natural. But then of course, now this position seems a bit low. Oh yeah, we need to have some other stuff going on. We need an envelope on it. So master envelope, let's go down, bit of release. That's okay, but the filter is a bit too flat, so I'm just going to do something very similar on the filter. Boom. Get a bit of punch in there. Maybe check on some distortion as well. Dial it back though, not too much. Gain's high. Not too bad, not too bad. Might just detune that a little bit. Of course, with restart via gate, it will still restart every time you hit the note. And that's not too bad. Maybe we'll just compress it as well, and then we'll be on our merry way. Actually, there was one more thing. I might check on the EQ, a bit of boost. So if you dial the frequency knob down to its lowest, it's around about 150, which is kind of like the warmth frequency. As you boost it up, you get a bit more warmth and punch out of it. And then of course we'll compress it to try and get a bit more snap out of that on each note. So we probably want higher ratio. I'm just going to smash it while I get the settings right. That attacks too fast, so we'll go quite a slow attack, let the transient through, and then a pretty fast release. That's fine. And then we'll go match the output. Sloppy, tighter. Okay, now I need a loop. Alright. That'll do, okay. Whoops. Went too far. Okay, let's just select that. Loop that up. Select all. Ooh. Command G to quantize. And, alright. We want a sidechain there. I can tell that the loop is going to be way too loud in comparison, so I need to dial that back a bit. So we'll go another sidechain on Massive. Sidechain from Kick. And well, for one thing, this snare is way too loud. massive, probably too massive. But it does sound more or less alright, so I'm just going to basically EQ out some of that crazy amount of punch, which is at around, so we'll just find it first. Q up. Whoa, not on there, on a bell curve. It's around there somewhere, so we'll just pull that back. That's not too bad, so got rid of some of the punch. It was actually more around the sort of 200, 250. That's where it sounded better. Let's just get one more thing in with the hats. So with the percussion, we'll get some closed hats in there. So it just needs a bit, it's a bit too straight, so we'll use a closed hat to get a bit of character. Okay, so in the end, I chose a new sample, this one here, a little bit of character, and the pattern I went with is actually quite simple. You can hear it here. So there we go. Just adds a bit of character to the loop. And then the last thing you tend to get in tech house is the classic sidechained ride. So let's just do that. Right, MIDI. Cool. Atlas. So we need a ride. What have we got? Kind of want that sound, but it's a bit low. That might actually work. Let's give it a go. I'll keep it quite low in the mix. So we just want. There it is. So we want eighths. We don't have to go full loops, full bars for this. One more channel so we can sidechain it. Channel 8 in. Okay, it's going to be way too loud, as I suspected. Here's my bassline. I'll just steal a sidechain from this. Alt to drag. Cool. We'll probably do more sidechaining. Not the right ride, so let's find a better one. Okay, once again I changed the sample, found a better one, and got the sidechain right, and this is what it sounds like. So here's the pattern, eighths, being sidechained. And what I might do here is chuck on an auto pan just to move it around the stereo spread, speed it up, and dial it back a bit. Those hats, they need a bit more character to them, they're just not coming through in the mix. Might check on a real fast delay. So basically what I'm doing here is I've got a simple delay. I've just linked it for now, link the left and right, want to get the timing about right. I'm going to unlink it now and just go changing it from sync to time, have them slightly different times, and then it's just, so yeah, like in the tens of milliseconds, and then quite a short feedback. character. That ride, again, I'm going to EQ some of the mids out of that. I feel like it might be a bit, the pitch might be a bit low as well. Let's try that. Alright, and there you go. That's a basic tech house loop and a simple bass line. So now what we'll do is we'll record those audio loops out to a channel so you can have them. So I'm going to go a new audio channel from the group, monitor in. And what we're going to do here, I'll just change it so that I'll just change the sends to basically sends only. So we're just we're not hearing a duplicate of the audio. So remember, all these sounds from the percussion loop are going into this UAD processing. It's actually coming in quite hot. So what I might do is dial this back a bit. Go to 0. Okay, cool. And then that ride still. I'll do some loops without the ride as well. I'm going to turn it off for this first one. So let's record this loop. Alright, there's your loop. So we can solo it and go master with monitor. Cool, and there's a basic tech house loop recorded for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this kit. Okay, so we'll save this as tech house 101. Alright, cool, that's our first kit. Okay, cool, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change these samples out and mess around with the MIDI patterns a bit and come up with 10 different loops and record them all out for you. So this will be a fade to black and I'll be back in a sec. Alright guys, so I got 10 loops recorded here. Let's have a little bit of a listen. So starting with the first one that we've already heard. That's a pretty classic tech house loop. Yep, taking that. Yep, sweet. Yeah, these are all pretty rad. It's a bit techno, but I like that. I like that. Sweet. So there's 10 audio loops there, and for every loop I've saved out the kit in Atlas. So if you go back to Atlas drum kits, here are all the tech house drum kits that I've made. So you get all the samples, you get all the loops, and I'm also going to include the MIDI as well into one big MIDI, one MIDI clip. So you can basically dissect these loops and remake them yourselves. Maybe get a bit of a tighter mix down going on because I've kind of rushed the mix down here for the video, but you can do that. And then as for the bass line, I'm not going to include it in this video because the next video I'm going to do, I'm going to make 10 bass line loops and 10 bass line patches and give them to you as well. So that's Tech House in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you for the next one.